Let's get this out of the way up front. I like Michael Bay in a non-ironic way. Yes, it's true. I think he's an amazingly talented filmmaker who loses his way from time to Transformers. Did you know, for example, that he directed this?
Hello, for $10,000. Who Excuse me?
Got milk.
Right? One of the most memorable commercials of all time was directed by none other than Michael Bay himself. It's actually kind of obvious when you look at it, the rotational tracking shots, the overhead close-ups, the sheer economy of shots edited together for what is essentially a commercial for, milk. He made milk sexy. It's what he does. I'm not going to waste anyone's time recapping his career. We know what he's made and where he's been, but I'm going to focus on why this movie specifically may have, per se, created the modern Michael Bay that we know today. That rhymed. I could have been T-Pain, y'all. This may have per se created the modern Michael Bay that we know today. Coming off the success of mega hit action movies like Bad Boys, The Rock, and Armageddon, someone had the idea to tackle a period piece love story set against a national tragedy. Yeah, I wonder where they got that idea. I think people treated this movie kind of unfairly for what it was trying to accomplish. There's obviously a range of massive problems with the movie.
Baldwin is one of them.
And I'm going to get into them, but I believe that all of the pieces were in place for a repeat of the Titanic hysteria, had things gone a different direction. Especially when you consider the fact that Josh Hartnett was not originally cast to play Danny. It was Matt Damon. If he hadn't dropped out due to scheduling conflicts, this might have been a very different movie.
Put your mind at ease about passing me, because I really do think you did this country a service. I am a great flyer.
And if you have a fault, which you obviously don't, it's modesty.
If I have a fault, it's candor. You are just so... Cork just got away from me.
I like Ben Affleck in this movie. He's charming and funny and personable, and I can't help it.
You are so beautiful.
It's your nose that hurts.
I think it's my heart.
Oh, never mind, you ruined it. Pearl Harbor was written by Randall Wallace, who also wrote Braveheart. Ignoring mostly everything else on his resume, I'm sure his name on the script was all a studio needed to see to greenlight this movie. More to the point, I think the largest misfire of the film is the script. I don't know how much of that was him with the structure and what it was trying to accomplish, but the script has the largest problems. Like being chock full of groaners like these.
Well, guess what? It's not training over there, it's war. Where the losers die and there aren't any winners.
What choice do we have? We're building refrigerators, while our enemies build bombs.
All we have to worry about here is sabotage. So we've bunched our planes together to make them easier to protect.
Smart enemy. Gets you exactly where you think you're safe.
Not anxious to die, sir. Just anxious to matter.
President, with all respect, sir, what you're asking can't be done.
Do not tell me it can't be done.
You know what top secret is? It's the kind of mission where you get medals. But they send them to your relatives.
A lot of people frown on the Yanks for not being in this war yet. I'd just like to say, if there are many more back home like you, God help anyone who goes to war with America.
Pearl Harbor tells the story of three characters, and a million other ones, but three main characters. Rafe McCauley, played by Affleck, Bay and Affleck both riding high off the success of Armageddon, Danny Walker, played by Josh Hartnett, and Evelyn Johnson, played by Kate Beckinsale. But what's really weird to me is they didn't actually operate within the Titanic formula. Girl and boy fall for each other amidst a traumatic backdrop. But this movie has a level of complication within that old formula that I actually find quite interesting. I'll be getting back to that point many times during the video. One of the decisions that I think a lot of people disagree with, and understandably so, was to portray the love story between these three characters in a classical 1940s-esque way. Kind of cheesy, romanticized, overly simplistic, you get it. It's a solid idea that comes with some grand visuals, but the rest of the movie, especially Cuba Gooding Jr.'s storyline, is so gritty, unapologetic, and modern that the idealized look at 1940s romance never gelled with an audience.
And you make sure the gunners... Everyone's where they need to be, Captain. You trained us well.
God, Cuba Gooding Jr. is absolutely amazing for all of 20 minutes of screen time. It might be the last time he was this good in a movie. Conversely, attempting that is so brilliant that I really want to applaud him for dropping us into the 1940s mindset just to rip the carpet out from under us. To me, that's artistically relevant. How better to drive home what this event meant to our history than to juxtapose the reality of the violence with our idealization of the time period? You probably never even saw a lot of this stuff done here because it's only in the director's cut of the film, which is a very, very hard R. Like, super hard. Hard target hard. Saving Private Ryan barely pulled that off. The weakest parts of that movie, at least to me, are the overly sentimental modern sequences showing Private Ryan's character looking back on the numerous lives it cost him to get there. Spoiler, they save Private Ryan, but that's in the title of the movie, so maybe... Yes, I did just say that Michael Bay did something artistically relevant. That's actually kind of the point of this review. I think this movie might have ruined his desire to try and be that kind of artist because it wasn't what was wanted or expected of him. He takes some chances, and some of them are not great, but some of them are actually really interesting to me. Also, we'll get back to it, but the last hour of the movie is it kind of breaks everything, and I think it really destroys what he was trying to accomplish in the first place.
Because Alec Baldwin ruined it.
Let's blow through the plot real fast so I can get to the points I want to make about this movie. Danny and Rafe are best friends since childhood and go into the Army Air Corps together because they're totally BF, UYFDAIH, GFBY, EUILOHD. Best friends until you fake die and impregnate his girlfriend because you're emotionally unstable in lieu of his demise. I'm going to work on the acronym. It's a complicated story, okay? So they grow up. Rafe actually has dyslexia, so he can't pass an eye exam, which would prohibit him from his single and only character motivation to fight in the war. He meets Evelyn, the nurse running the eye exam. Hey, coincidence. And after he pleads his heart out to her, she passes him. They fall in love, but his dream is to fight a war. So like a total dick, he volunteers to go and fight the war in England because, America isn't in the war yet because, well, the movie's called Pearl Harbor. It's a prequel. Rafe is shot down and confirmed dead. Telegrams, flags, whole nine. This man is only loved by 2 people in the world. 2 people he just betrayed. He did tell Evelyn the truth, that he volunteered, but he straight up lied to Danny. So these 2 understandably emotionally devastated people begin to spend time together, end up sleeping together, and now she's got a Hartnett baby in there. Who's a good Hartnett baby? It doesn't feel like there's a real connection here between them because all they talk about when they're together is how great of a guy Rafe was.
God, I miss him.
But don't you think that Rafe wasn't back up there next day?
But he's not great. He wasn't great. He's a monster that fell for a woman who gave him what he really wanted, which I might add, isn't her. Fast forward, Rafe's alive, obvi. I mean, his head is like 90% of the movie, but everybody knew it. He shows back up on December 6th, 1941. Wow, what thematically relevant timing you have, Rafe. He finds out about this budding romance that creates a whole lot of tension that we, the audience, know it will not be resolved in this time frame. So he goes off and gets drunk. Super hella drunk! Punches are traded. Hey, Rafe punched his own memorial shot glass off the wall. It's actually kind of clever. Never mind.
If you hadn't gone, none of this would have happened. This was my fault, I guess.
Yes! Literally yes! This is entirely your fault, you selfish duck! I think that might have been a typo. Hey, it's morning, and they're no longer mourning. Did you get it? Did you guys get it? It was like a play on... Oh, Jesus Christ! ILM lost the Best Visual Effects Oscar that year to Fellowship of the Ring. No, I reject that. Their work here is not only incredible, practically invisible to an audience, but technically genius. Take this shot. You know how many of these planes are real? Because it's not 0. It's 5. They used a lot of practical photography to ensure that the CGI added in post on top of it was flawless. It just is. It still holds up 13 years later. This movie still looks amazing. Just look at these shots. They're mind-blowingly good. We're going to sit down and enjoy this beauty, and I'm going to T-Pain all over it. Oh snap, these kids are playing baseball while the Japanese attack the coast of Pearl Harbor. Check out these 2 kids peeing. I'm not sure, but I don't think this is thematically relevant. Don't mind me, I'm just doing laundry in the morning. Laundry is the best time of the day. I hope I don't get attacked from behind. This lost the Fellowship, which albeit is a better film, but look at that! 2001! Seriously, where the hell did the guy that made this movie go? Who, mind you, will function as his own camera operator when he thinks it necessary. I want to point out one scene in particular. Evelyn, who's been through hell as wounded and dying soldiers are brought to their woefully understaffed hospital, where she, with lipstick, must write on soldiers' foreheads as to whom dwindling supplies should be used on. Evelyn must decide who is worth trying to save and who she's okay letting go. That's dark, but it's the scene after that. It's the scene right here. The battle is over, and Evelyn turns around as both Rafe and Danny walk up. Look at her face. That is not a look of relief. To me, that's disappointment. I'm not sure how much of this is actually intentional, But if one of them had died, it would have taken away a decision her character wasn't emotionally ready to make. I mean, the story has an ass dumpster full of problems, but I honestly feel like this movie could have been improved if it ended like this. It would punctuate that the narrative resolution to their complex love triangle is no longer relevant given the hell that they just went through, but actually be emotionally unsettling for an audience, as if this were some kind of movie made to underline a national tragedy. But it didn't end there. There's a whole nother hour.
There's a whole nother hour.
It's not your turn.
Jason Derulo.
Shut up. Another hour dedicated to both Danny and Rafe volunteering to go on the Doolittle raid with Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin who ruins the movie.
Have I mentioned that yet?
Yes.
Did no one learn anything? Now you're both acting like a bag of ducks. Oh crap, it auto-corrected again. If you've been waiting patiently through this entire review, wondering why I haven't torn this movie a new asshole and it just kind of seems like I like it,
Put on your Sunday best because we're about to go to church.
The Doolittle Offensive was a small counteroffensive by American forces 5 months later into Tokyo, striking a few non-military targets like factories and things. I'm not saying that the Doolittle Offensive didn't bring some much-needed morale back to the American home front. It did. But I am definitely saying that twisting the event to turn the attack on Pearl Harbor into a victory for America is historically dishonest and morally reckless. Imagine a 9/11 romantic drama. Oops, that's disgusting already. But imagine that the third act of the film led up to this. And I haven't touched on the fact that there's 11 billion side characters who are so crowded into the movie that the positives I did focus on are effectively moot anyway. Or how manipulative and fictional all the stuff with John Voight as Roosevelt is. Or that the reason I've been beating up on Alec Baldwin for this entire review is for this line that is so bad you'll have a bowel movement.
You know, at Pearl, they hit us with a sledgehammer. This raid, even if we make it through, it'll only be a pinprick. But it'll be straight through their hearts.
Seriously, Alec Baldwin ruined the movie.